What up, what up, what up? Hey, everybody, hope you're doing well. Hey, I just want to let you know, I know everybody can't always support and donate to the podcast, but hey, if you can do a one-time donation, I put up a Buy Me a Coffee link in this description of the podcast. So if you go to the description of the podcast, it'll be at the bottom, and you can just go to that link, and you can buy me a cup of coffee, or two if you want. And that would just help support the show, and I can wake up a little bit more and bring you more info. So thanks for listening to the podcast. If you can donate, that would be much appreciated. And let's get on to the show. What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully you guys are doing excellent and taking care of yourself. Hey, so I got a question for you. Is it possible that humans could defend the Earth in the event of a very evil alien invasion? Well, I think the question, there's so many questions, there's so many variables in that discussion. Okay, so let's go through them. Okay, we're not talking about us, Neanderthalic-like humans trying to put up a weaponized front against an advanced species, although that may be what it seems like we're talking about. But see, in all reality, if we take all of the whistleblower testimony into play where they discuss our relationships with many species that have all these different kinds of weapons that can not only shield Earth but also provide offense and defense, that it not only becomes humans versus one species, it becomes United Nations versus one species. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit and what we've heard and what we know. So, if you've ever seen the Men in Black 3, it was Men in Black 3, they had this great character in there. His name is Griffin. And Griffin's sole purpose was to give us, I want to call it like the ArcNet or something like that, where once we threw it up into the atmosphere, it would spread this net across the Earth and it would protect us. Well, I believe that we have something like that. And in one of my previous podcasts I just talked about with Corey Good and a couple other whistleblowers, they've talked about how we have an interception force that intercepts any intruders. An intruder interception and interrogation unit is what they have on the lunar operating base. And so if they have that on the moon, and then we have some sort of like ArcNet going around the planet, and that's been told to us by a couple different people, including Corey Good as well, that the reptilians that were here, the bad Dracos that wanted to get the hell out of here before they got found out and taken prisoner, stated that they wanted him to to tell the government to bring down our shields so that they can go. So apparently we do have some sort of shield that allows us to keep species in as well as keep certain species out. Now, that could be done with a frequency generator, right? You get the right frequency. This has been done on multiple sci-fi television shows where they have a frequency modulator and generator, and you just put up you modulate through the frequencies continually, so that if one frequency gets through, you got all these other frequencies blocked, or you're constantly monitoring for all these different frequencies and so forth. So that's really interesting. Another whistleblower, Richard Doty, talked about how we've captured some alive extraterrestrials, imprisoned them, especially the really dangerous ones. So if we can imprison them, then that goes to show that we have defensive capabilities and imprisoning capabilities to protect us from some of those really, really nasty dudes. Let's say, I know there's been a lot of talk about Earth being the prison planet for a lot of different species, that They just drop off Sasquatch and they drop off all these other species, and we're just kind of like the Australia of the universe, where they just drop off a whole bunch of criminals and leave them here. Well, if that's true, then at least we have the capability to imprison some of those that are really, truly dangerous. So we have that defensive capability. Now, on the offense, we have, I mean, even going back to 1947, we have radar and some of the, what was it called? The scalar technologies that, are audible, as well as radar, as well as sound penetrating, all kinds of mostly sound audio detection equipment messes with a lot of the alien aircraft, so it causes them to get out of balance. They crash and we can pick them up. So even going back to the 40s, we had the capability to knock these things out of the sky. And some people are going to argue, "Oh, well, that's not how they went down." Well, that's what I read. That's the information I've got from many whistleblowers, as well as books. So here we go, right? I mean, if we can take them down with stuff back in the 40s, think about the stuff that we have now. It's not going to be this weaponized front that's going to use laser blasters and stuff out of Star Wars or Star Trek or any of the other thousands of different sci-fi movies. It's basically going to be a frequency battle, where you have to have the right frequency to get through, or you're not getting through, or you have to have the right frequency to do battle, or to engage, or to stop an invasion. Now, see, think about this for a second. When we have alien abductions, whether they're military abductions or whatever they are, some people will argue they're military. Whatever the case is, they're using a technology to put people to sleep. Well, it's probably audio and some electric, right? Because it usually shuts down cars and it puts people to sleep. Well, you can put people to sleep with audio frequencies. You can use binaural beats to put people into a meditative state. You can use them to knock people out, to make people go to sleep, and all kinds of things. So we have the technology to do that. So you get what I'm getting at here, is that if they can do that in a short-range vehicle, if they can modulate that and amplify that to go out into space, we could use that as an offensive weapon to knock out aliens that are flying their ships towards Earth. Boom. You're asleep. Bam. Now your ship's not really a threat anymore because you can't fire off offensive capabilities. The only issue there is that even if you knock people out, many of these ships are quote-unquote alive and may be able to continue their offensive threat capabilities. So then you have to deal with the ship itself and knocking out the ship, and whether or not you have an EMP blast out into space or you have some other type of electric issue happen with that ship, that might be the only way to take it down. So here we are, right? We figured out that we can knock them out consciously. We can knock their ships out of the sky physically with our audio and radar and scalar technologies. We don't need projectiles. We don't need lasers. We don't need any of that. We could use that, but it's not really going to do a lot of good. The disabling a ship is far better than shooting one down. Now we do have projectiles that can explode near ships that would take them out, provided they don't have a shield. So what was used in the Jonathan Weygandt story, where they used this missile that once it gets near a heat signature, it can explode. It doesn't have to hit the target directly. It can explode in the air, and the shrapnel from the warhead will take out a ship, and it'll take a chunk out of it. So it takes it down, basically. And that's what happened down in Peru back, I believe it was 96, I believe he said, 95, 96, because he came out with his story in 97. So yeah, I mean, we have that kind of technology too, and he said that's what was used on that ship. So we didn't use any scalar, we didn't use any radar. We actually used a projectile on that ship, and that was in the 90s. So that's fascinating as well. On a personal level, like on an individual battle to battle, hand to hand combat scenario, Randy Kramer talks about the fact that we do have suits that can make us Superman. They're kind of like Superman suits, minus the laser eyes and the flying, but they can protect us in battle. They can give us super strength. They can allow us to jump, insane distances. Take hits as you fall. If you fall off a 60-foot cliff, you can take that hit. It'll save you and protect your limbs and your bones and things like that. So we have that. He states that we do have huge gun type weapons that have been developed with the assistance of our alien counterparts that are our friends. Phil Schneider, who got his hands blown off with some sort of laser type device from a tall white species. I'm not going to say just tall whites because there's lots of different tall whites, but one of the tall white species did blast him, and he lost his fingers and got blasted a hole in his stomach cavity. And so there are laser individual weapons that can be used in a hand-to-hand combat type of scenario that the aliens who are working with the government do have. So therefore, we probably have them too. So in a battle scenario, according to Randy Kramer, according to Emery, according to a lot of the other guys, Cord Good, and other whistleblowers, we can defend ourselves. However, that being said, it's not the vast majority of the military that even has an idea that we have these weapons. So, how much of a force do we have that we don't know about? That's where it really comes into play. When you're talking about mass militaries of countries that we know about, like China has like a 1 billion person army or some insane thing like that, and that's always like held over our heads because that's like more people than we have in this country. Uh, so the mass populist military is far smaller than what a secret space program military would be. However, the secret space program military would have far superior weaponry, cognizant abilities of how to use those. Maybe they're DNA modified. Maybe some of those individuals working the Black Ops are superhuman. They had their DNA modified. Maybe they're psychic, and maybe they know what's coming and what kind of battle is about to ensue. There's all kinds of things to consider. But I think that in the end, we might be able to hold off, an evil threat, not just due to our own human capabilities, even with alien technology, but the fact that we have relationships with other species goes a long way, because when you have the United Nations behind you, you have a lot behind you. When you have the Galactic Federation behind you, if we do, then that goes a pretty far way, because one species doesn't want to do battle with 95% of the galaxy. If you got 5% of bad ones out there, they don't want to do battle with 95% of the good ones, man. That's too heavy of odds. They're going to go dominate some other areas of space where maybe the Galactic Federation isn't, and they're going to get their resources elsewhere. So anyway, something to think about. Hopefully you guys are keeping your eyes on the skies and seeing some surprises out there, having some fun learning, gathering up info for yourself. Tons of great books out there on these different subjects. Lots of whistleblowers are coming out and telling us all kinds of great stuff now. It's a great time to be alive in the ufology world and gathering up brand new info daily, it seems like, almost, doesn't it? So anyway, guys, I hope you're taking care of yourselves physically, spiritually, emotionally, doing those things that you really enjoy, whether it's listening to alien podcasts, meditating, praying, working on pieces of art, skilled labor, building things with your hands, teaching the younger generation how to utilize the skills you've learned to be better is a great opportunity. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a fantastic evening. Take care of yourselves and continue to question the universe around you. Until next time, Locked On Universe out.